Hello friends, we are moving into the 8th week of our course and we have two one-act plays. The first one-act play is Anton Chekhov's The Bear and the second one-act play is John Millington Synge's Riders to the Sea. First, we will discuss Anton Chekhov's The Bear. In this presentation, we will see the objectives, Chekhov's life and writings, then we will move to Chekhov's Dramaturgy, that is the art of playwriting. We will look at some of the views of Chekhov on the bear. We will consider the sources, performance, translation and form of the bear. We will introduce the characters and also describe the setting. Then we will have some selected scenes from the play and summarize our presentation. What are the objectives? To study the life and writings of the Russian playwright Anton Chekhov. To understand Chekhov's dramaturgy, that is the art of drama writing. To examine the sources, performance, translation and the form, the dramatic form of the bear. To describe the characters and the setting of the play. To introduce Chekhov's The Bear with a few selected scenes. We can understand more about the play only when we read the play actually. We will have some selected scenes. Let us begin with Anton Chekhov's life. Anton Chekhov was born in 1860 and he died in 1904. He was a medical practitioner. He started writing short stories and plays and actually he earned more from literary outputs, creative outputs than from his medical profession. He became a social worker and an educationist. He established a school for children in his country. Strangely, he remained unmarried until the age of 41. Then he fell in love with a lady and he married her, but then he suffered from the disease tuberculosis and died at the age of 45. Even in his own short lifetime, he achieved permanent fame in Russian literature. He was considered to be one of the greatest writers even in his own lifetime. We have two quotations from Anton Chekhov. These are very interesting for us. We will learn about life not from pluses alone but from minuses as well. Life is a combination of both plus and minus. You must trust and believe in people or life becomes impossible. As we said in the case of the play Tuklak, trust is essential for life. If there is no trust, then there is no life. That means there is no meaning in life. Let us see some of the writings of Chekhov. He has written short stories, one-act plays and also full-length plays. We have some examples for each of them. Some of the short stories are The Living Chattel, The Bet, Ward Number 6. Some of the one-act plays are The Bear, The Proposal, The Jubilee, The Wedding, The Evils of Tobacco. And some of the full-length plays that we have mentioned here are The Seagull, Uncle Vanya, Three Sisters, The Cherry Orchard. The Cherry Orchard is considered to be his greatest play. These are performed in different locations around the world at different points. The Bear is one of the most popular plays of Anton Chekhov. It is a comedy, you will enjoy it. What is the art of writing practiced by Anton Chekhov? In his plays, we can find realism and also naturalism. We will find ordinary characters like peasants, landowners, merchants, servants and artists. Chekhov would reveal characters through reactions to situations and events. We will see some of these characteristics in the play that we have chosen. The play may begin with the arrival of characters. We will find some unmistakable influence of off-stage characters. Off-stage characters do not appear on the stage. They may have died or they may be away from the scene, but they will have some influence on the course of events in the play. We also have the presence or explosion of guns. Some kind of gunshot would be heard or gun would be presented on the stage. We also have some breaking of furniture on the stage in front of the audience. And lastly, we have some use of strong gestural language, drinking, fainting, falling asleep, snoring. All these gestural aspects we can find on the stage. Actually, the audience can watch them. So these are some of the features. In most of his plays we will find them. That is why we have put them together under the category Chekhov's Dramaturgy. When you read any play of Anton Chekhov, you will find these characteristics. Some of them we will find in our play as well. Furniture, gesture, a gun, offstage character, all these events, ordinary characters, all of them we will see in The Bear. Chekhov has said a few ideas about the play. So we have got a quotation from a letter that he wrote in 1888 to the poet Yakov Polansky. First, we have one sentence and same idea is repeated in the second quotation as well. Let us see the first one. Having nothing better to do, I wrote a silly little French vaudeville under the title The Bear. This is from one source, the next one is from another source. Just to while away the time, I wrote a trivial little vaudeville in the French manner called The Bear. Alas, when they find out on New Time, the newspaper for which Chekhov wrote many stories owned by Chekhov's publisher Suvorin, that I write vaudevilles, they will excommunicate me. What am I to do? I planned something worthwhile and it is all tra-la-la. In spite of all my attempts at being serious, the result is nothing. With me, the serious always alternates with the trivial. Like plus and minus in life, serious and trivial, not so serious, they always come together in real life. Chekhov actually wanted to spend his time and so he wrote this little French vaudeville, silly little French vaudeville. Vaudeville is an entertainment piece. It became one of the most popular entertainment pieces in Russian literature and it brought more fame and money to Anton Chekhov. Let us see the sources for the play. The Bear is called A Joke in One Act. That is the subtitle of the play. That play is derived from the 19th century French dramatist and actor Pierre Berton's La Jourance de Cardiac. Chekhov had translated this play into Russian as Conquerors or Above Criticism. The translation also must have influenced Chekhov. The source can be traced to the widow of Ephesus from the Roman author Petronius Arbiter's Satyricon. This is an ancient Roman story about a faithful woman who offers the buried body of her husband for crucifixion to save the life of a god who she has fallen in love. So we can see some kind of strange incidents in the play. How was the play performed on stage or how was it received? Initially, the play was censored for its coarseness and impropriety because it deals with love among adult people, that is married people. Later, the censor permitted the play for performance. It was dedicated to the famous comic actor Nikolai Solovtsov. Anton Chekhov wanted to recognize the comic actor. The play was first performed at the Coach Theatre in Moscow in 1888. It became instantly successful and continued to be performed across the globe. Not only in Russia, at different locations in the world it was performed. Even today it is a popular piece. It brought Chekhov both fame and money. What kind of translation do we have for our course? The text that we have is an English translation made by Julius West. Julius West had some Jewish Russian parentage. He lived in London, travelled to Russia. He was suspected of being a spy. However, he translated Anton Chekhov's plays as Plays by Anton Chekhov second series. This is available in Project Gutenberg. What is the form of this one-act play? It is more to do with 19th century vaudeville, particularly French vaudeville, that is more of an entertainment. It is a miniature form of vaudeville. It is a satire on land owning and merchant classes in Russia. It portrays the triumph of virtue over evil. It presents a realistic world and characters. It includes songs, dance and music. Chekhov subverted the vaudeville form in his play. At the end of The Bear, we find that the bear becomes a mouse. In other one-act plays like The Proposal and Jubilee, also we find certain strange things. There is no proposal in The Proposal. The celebration in the Jubilee turns into chaos in the play. So Chekhov used the French form but then modified it to suit his own purposes. Who are the characters that we have in this one act play? We have just a handful of characters. Elena Ivanovna Popova is a land-owning little widow with dimples on her cheeks. Dimples on her cheeks are something like identification marks for her. Next character that we have is Grigory Stepanovich Smirnov. He is a middle-aged landowner. Next we have Luka. He is the aged footman of Popova. Next we have another character, Nikolai Mihailovich. He is not present on the stage. He is an off-stage character. Actually he is dead, but he controls the whole play. That's why off-stage character has some power in this play. We have a horse named Toby, and it also has something to do with the theme or the progress of the play. When you read the play, you will understand the importance of Toby at the beginning and neglect of Toby at the end of the play. Let us see the setting now. The setting of the play is a Russian countryside. It is set in a drawing room in Popova's house. Popova has been mourning the death of her husband for 7 months, and she is alone. She does not want to meet anybody. At this time, Smirnov comes to this house to collect his debt of 1200 rubles due for oats bought by Popova's late husband Nikolai. At this moment, Popova's steward is away from her house. She is unable to handle money, but Smirnov wants to have the money right on the spot, so he cannot leave the place without money, and so we have a conflict between the two. Popova says, I cannot repay the money at the moment, but then Smirnov says, I can't leave the place without the money. Their argument in the drawing room leads to a duel, that is they want to fight with each other, but then at the end of the play we find that both embrace each other. That is a kind of comedy, the joke that we have in the play. Let us see the opening scene now. We said we would have some selected scenes or selected passages. Let us start with the opening scene. Some important locations we have identified and brought them to you. Right at the beginning, Luka says, it isn't right, ma'am. You are just destroying yourself. The maid and the cook have gone off fruit picking. Every living being is rejoicing. Even the cat understands how to enjoy herself and walks about in the yard catching midges. Only you sit in this room all day as if this was a convent and don't take any pleasure. Yes, really, I reckon it is a whole year that you haven't left the house. Popova, having lost her husband, is alone. She doesn't want to go out. She is in mourning. She doesn't enjoy life. So says, everything in the world enjoys life, including the cat. But you are not happy. Why do you remain like this? And Popova replies, I shall never go out. Why should I? My life is already at an end. He is in his grave. That is her husband. I have buried myself between four walls. We are both dead. That is the comedy of this whole situation. Popova is in mourning, considers herself to be dead. She thinks that she has buried herself among the four walls. But then Luka replies, well, there you are. Nikolai Mihailovich is dead. Well, it's the will of God, and may his soul rest in peace. Your husband is gone, dead, all right. Let his soul rest in peace. Why do you worry for a long time? You have mourned him enough, quite right, that's okay. But you can't go on weeping and wearing mourning forever. My old woman died too when her time came. Well, I grieved over her. I wept for a month, and that's enough for her. But if I have got to weep for a whole age, well, the old woman isn't worth it. So you can see the attitude of Luka to his own old woman who died some time ago. And he says, like everybody else, I mourn for her, I spend some time for her, but then we have to keep on with our life. But what you are doing is unreasonable. That's what Luka tells Popova. And this picture will be subverted at the end of the play. Now, Popova has a sense of self-righteousness. She considers herself to be right. So she says, by looking at the photograph of her husband, you will see, Nicholas, how I can love and forgive. My love will die out with me only when this poor heart will cease to beat. That is only when she dies. She laughs to herself, although she has tears on her face. And aren't you ashamed? I am a good and virtuous little wife. I have locked myself in and will be true to you till the grave. And you aren't ashamed, you bad child. You deceived me, had rose with me, left me alone for weeks on end. This is a kind of self-righteous feeling Popova expresses. And she quarrels with the husband, dead husband, and she wants to prove that she is better than her dead husband. Now the man who gave 1200 rubles to Nicholas is coming here. That is Smirnov. He enters Popova's house. He finds Luka, so he tells Luka, "You fool, you are too fond of talking. Ass." He sees Popova and speaks with respect. Immediately he changes his attitude. "Ma'am, I have the honor to present myself. I am Grigory Stepanovich Smirnov, landowner and retired lieutenant of artillery. I am compelled to disturb you on a very pressing affair." Popova doesn't want to give her hand to him as is a custom. "What do you want?" she asks. Smirnov says, "Your late husband, with whom I had the honor of being acquainted, died in my debt for 1200 rubles on 2 bills of exchange. As I have got to pay the interest on a mortgage tomorrow, I have come to ask you, ma'am, to pay me the money today for buying votes from me." That is for the money that was spent for buying votes for the horses in Popova's house. Now the problem is Popova cannot pay. One is the steward is away, another is she is not used to handle money, one more is she is in mourning. She doesn't want to deal with any stranger. She doesn't even look at this gentleman. "Sir, in my solitude I have grown unaccustomed to the masculine voice and I can't stand shouting. I must ask you not to disturb my peace." Smirnov simply says, "Pay me the money, I will go, I will not disturb you." But Popova says, "I told you perfectly plainly, I haven't any money to spare. Wait until the day after tomorrow." That is when her steward would return. Smirnov says, "And I told you perfectly plainly, I don't want the money the day after tomorrow, but today. If you don't pay me today, I will have to hang myself tomorrow." This is a kind of witty dialogue that we have between Popova and Smirnov. You should read the whole play to enjoy it. It's a short play, one-act play. You can find some time to read it and enjoy it. Popova asks, "But what can I do if I haven't got the money? You are so strange. You are illogical. Can't you understand that I don't have money?" And Smirnov replies, "Then you won't pay me now?" Huh? Popova bluntly says, "I can't." Now Smirnov, what else can he do? He provokes the lady. He teases her. "Silly and rude, I don't know how to behave before women. Ma'am, in my time I have seen more women than you have seen sparrows. 3 times I have fought duels on account of women. I have refused 12 women and 9 have refused me. Yes, there was a time when I played the fool, centered myself, used honeyed words, wore jewelry, made beautiful bows. I used to love, to suffer, to sigh at the moon, to get sour, to thaw, to freeze. I used to love passionately, madly, every blessed way. Devil take me. I used to chatter like a magpie about emancipation and wasted half my wealth on tender feelings. But now you must excuse me. I can't do such things now." That's what Smirnov says to Popova, and he intentionally provokes her to come out with some words so that she will pay the money and get rid of him. This provocation continues because he doesn't get much reply from her. "You won't get round me like that now. I have had enough. Black eyes, passionate eyes, ruby lips, dimpled cheeks, the moon, whispers, timid breathing. I wouldn't give a brass farthing for the lot, ma'am. Present company always accepted. All women, great or little, are insincere, crooked, backbiters, envious, liars to the marrow of their bones, vain, trivial, merciless, unreasonable." And as far as this is concerned, he taps his forehead. "Excuse my outspokenness. A sparrow can give 10 points to any philosopher in petticoats you like to name." So Smirnov, when he doesn't get any reply from Popova, he starts one battle called Battle of the Sexes. He condemns women, all women, great or little, are insincere, crooked, backbiters, envious, liars to the marrow of their bones, vain, trivial, merciless, unreasonable. And now Popova is compelled to answer, and so she replies. We have the rebuttal of Popova. So she defends herself and the whole of women. The man, she laughs bitterly. Men are faithful and constant in love. What an idea! What right have you to talk like that? Men are faithful and constant. Since we are talking about it, I will tell you that of all the men I knew and know, the best was my late husband. I loved him passionately with all my being, as only a young and imaginative woman can love. I gave him my youth, my happiness, my life, my fortune. I breathed in him. I worshipped him as if I were a heathen. And what then? This best of men shamelessly deceived me at every step. Now Popova had already the feeling that she was better than her husband. Now here is an opportunity for her to show that better quality of her in front of Smirnov, and not only above her husband but above all women, above all men. And here is the battle between men and women. Popova stands for women and Smirnov argues for men. The rebuttal continues. After his death, I found in his desk a whole drawer full of love letters, and when he was alive, it's an awful thing to remember. He used to leave me alone for weeks at a time and make love to other women and betray me before my very eyes. He wasted my money and made fun of my feelings, and in spite of all that, I loved him and was true to him. And not only that, but now that he is dead, I am still true and constant to his memory. I have shut myself forever within these four walls and will wear these weeds to the very end. These weeds, these mourning weeds, black dress, she will wear it to the end of her life. That's what she says. Now we can see after the death of her husband, still she is true to the dead husband, whereas in life, when he was alive, in front of her eyes, her own husband was not faithful. And like her husband, she considers all men to be unfaithful, insincere, in contrast to Smirnov, who says women are insincere. Now we find that because of the intense conversations between the two, we have some change in the mind of Smirnov. Smirnov finds that this is a different kind of woman. So they want to fight, actually they want to fight with each other, they want to use guns to fight with each other. Smirnov loads a revolver in silence, takes his cap and goes to the door. Very interesting thing is Popova doesn't know how to use a gun. It is Smirnov who teaches the lady how to use a gun. So we have him here preparing himself for the fight. There he stops for a half a minute while they look at each other in silence. Then he hesitatingly approaches Popova. He tells her, "Listen, are you still angry? I am devilishly annoyed too. But do you understand? How can I express myself? The fact is, you see, it's like this, so to speak." He shouts, "Well, is it my fault that I like you?" He expresses his love for this lady. He snatches at the back of a chair. The chair creaks and breaks. This is a breaking of furniture in Chekhov's play. "Devil take it, how am I smashing up your furniture? I like you. Do you understand? I almost love you." Now the man who comes here to collect money from the lady, who fights with her for this battle of sexes, now he proposes to her. Popova replies, "Get away from me, I hate you." But Smirnov says, "God, what human! I have never in my life seen one like her. I am lost, done for, fallen into a mouse trap like a mouse." That's how we said the bear becomes a mouse at the end of the play. Popova says, "Stand back or I'll fire." She has her gun in her hands, so she threatens him. That's how the play ends. After this duel, almost like a duel, they embrace each other. Now let's see the summary of the presentation we have had so far. We saw the objectives of discussing Anton Chekhov's The Bear. We saw the life and writings of Chekhov. We understood the characteristics of Chekhov's dramaturgy. We learnt about the views of Chekhov on the bear. We considered the sources, performance, translation and form of the bear. We introduced the characters, described the setting and read a few selected scenes from the play, from different locations of the play, to give an idea of what the play is all about. So we have two major characters, Smirnov and Popova. Initially they appear to be protagonists and antagonists, but then they become attracted to each other and they fall in love with each other at the end of the play. Here are some references. Please go to these references and help yourself to learn more about Anton Chekhov, one of the finest dramatists of the world.